There are times in life when even the strongest person can reach their limit, when the weight of everything becomes too heavy and they finally break. For one woman, this moment came suddenly. After she broke down, the choice she made changed her family's lives forever. It wasn't just a personal struggle. It affected everyone around her. What led her to that breaking point? How did one decision, made in a moment of deep pain, change the future of her loved ones? Her story is a clear reminder of how important mental health is and why we must pay attention to it, not just for ourselves, but for the people we care about. As we explore her story, the message becomes clear. Mental struggles must be taken seriously. The calm of a quiet evening was broken by the sound of screams and gunshots, a tragedy that no one expected. On November 6, 2021, just after 9 p.m., a neighbor made a panicked call to emergency services. When police arrived at the home of Ronell and Keiana Burns, they found the couple dead on the floor. Strangely, there were no signs of a break-in, and nothing in the house seemed out of place. It was a devastating crime in what had seemed like a peaceful home. Who would do such a terrible thing, and why? As the investigation moved forward, darker motives began to surface, revealing unsettling answers. What looked like a senseless crime was hiding a deeper truth. Join us as we uncover the events that led to this tragic loss and try to understand why it happened. On the surface, Keiana Burns appeared to have it all: success, ambition, and love. But beneath the image of her seemingly perfect life, a deeper and more troubling story was unfolding. Keiana was born on September 15, 1977, in St. Louis, Missouri, and from a young age, she was determined to carve out a life of success. After completing her studies in cosmetology, she built a thriving business, a beauty salon that grew to become one of the largest in the St. Louis area. Her professional life flourished, but in her personal life, Keiana faced struggles. At 44, with 3 children from previous relationships, she was known as a loving mother and a strong, independent woman. Yet finding a partner who could match her drive and ambition had always been a challenge. Then she met Ronell Burns, and for a while, it seemed like her life was coming together. But under the surface, there were problems that no one saw. What looked like a new chapter for Keiana would soon turn into something much darker. As we look closer at Keiana and Ronell Burns' lives, we'll uncover the hidden issues that grew over time, issues that would eventually lead to a tragic ending. What went wrong? And how did things take such a terrible turn? What happens when the foundations of a seemingly perfect marriage begin to shift, and the future you once envisioned starts to crumble? Ronell Burns, born on May 14, 1975, in St. Louis, Missouri, was no stranger to ambition. From his days as a basketball player competing for a state championship at the High School of Fashion to his professional aspirations, Ronell had always strived for success. When he met Keiana, it seemed like fate had brought 2 driven individuals together. Both had children from previous relationships, and together they formed what appeared to be a strong, blended family. On September 13, 2012, they sealed their union in a beautiful wedding surrounded by friends and family, embarking on what seemed like a bright future. But soon after their marriage, Keiana began to see a side of Ronell that she hadn't fully anticipated. His devotion to his faith, while admirable, started to take a more prominent role in their lives. Ronell, deeply committed to his belief in serving others, felt called to dedicate his life to his faith, taking to the streets and the internet to preach and coach those in need. He often shared how, as a young man, he believed God had spoken to him, guiding his steps and purpose. For Keiana, what seemed at first to be a natural part of Ronell's life slowly became a source of tension. As we examine the deeper layers of their marriage, we'll explore how these shifts in Ronell's focus and calling began to challenge the very core of their relationship. What once seemed like an ideal partnership was beginning to show cracks that neither could have foreseen. To the outside world, Ronell and Keiana Burns seemed unstoppable, a couple who had it all. But as their success grew, so did hidden tensions, hinting at a more complicated story than what they shared online. Ronell's ministry extended far beyond the church. His powerful video messages reached thousands, and he became well known as a church coach. But faith wasn't his only focus. As a financial counselor and insurance agent, Ronell started traditional financial solutions to help people all over the world achieve financial freedom. His work drew large audiences, eager for his advice on both faith and finances. With Keianna by his side, they became a powerful couple, turning their dreams into reality. Ronell's success with Six-Figure Ambition, an online program for entrepreneurs, gained him over 7,000 followers on Instagram and 2,000 YouTube subscribers. Keianna wasn't far behind, with 14,000 Instagram followers of her own, where she shared motivational messages about family life and success. Together, they spoke at business events, always dressed sharply, presenting themselves as the picture of entrepreneurial success. But behind the scenes, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. As their public image grew, so did the pressures in their lives. Their story was not just one of success, but also of the struggles that come with chasing big dreams. What was really going on behind the image they presented? As we look deeper, we'll uncover the challenges that began to shake their once strong foundation. Ambition can be a driving force and a burden. For the Burns family, their pursuit of lasting success began to strain the very foundation of their lives. After years of helping others build wealth, Ronell and Keiana Burns turned their focus to guiding young entrepreneurs, teaching them not just to earn, but to invest wisely and build something sustainable. Their message was clear. You don't have to be great to start. You have to start to become great. It was a message that resonated with many, and their growing online presence, showcasing a life of luxury and financial success, drew countless followers. But behind the polished image, there were deeper complexities at play. Keianna had built her success through hard work, creating a network of beauty salons that became the backbone of the family's financial stability. While Ronell was a strong presence in their public image, it was Keianna's businesses that provided most of the family's income. Together, they inspired thousands, speaking at events and sharing their journey. Ronell's Six-Figure Ambitions program promised others they could achieve similar wealth, attracting many hopefuls looking for financial freedom. Yet, despite their outward success, the pressure to maintain this image was growing. The turning point came when Ronell proposed a significant change, moving the family from St. Louis, Keianna's hometown, to Atlanta. The move was framed as an opportunity to expand her business beyond its current reach. By then, they had 3 children together, Rhea, McKay, and Ray Haley, and were seen as a model family. But this move wasn't just a business decision, it began to reveal deeper tensions in their relationship. What seemed like a strategic step forward soon became a pivotal moment in their lives. The decision to relocate exposed underlying challenges and tensions that would soon come to the surface, altering the course of their family's story in ways no one could have anticipated. Ronell's ambitions didn't stop with a simple move. He dreamed of establishing a chain of salons in Atlanta, expanding his business and clientele. Keianna, however, was hesitant. St. Louis was home, the place where she had built her empire from the ground up. But once again, she gave in to her husband's wishes, continuing to present a picture-perfect life to their public audience. On social media, Keianna painted a glamorous life. She posted a photo of herself receiving a luxurious Maserati Levant from Ronell, her trunk overflowing with Louis Vuitton bags. Each post was carefully crafted, filled with words of admiration and gratitude toward her husband. But behind the scenes, the reality was far different. While Keianna's Instagram feed featured moments of family life and pictures of her beloved children, the truth began to unravel. After months of hiding her struggles, Keianna finally opened up to her followers.
Because I really need it right now. I need prayer. I need prayer. I need strength. I need love. I do. Stay encouraged. I'm going to go in my home, go in my little prayer room. I'm going to talk to God. Y'all pray for me. And I promise I'm going to keep praying for everybody else that need encouragement.
Things were not as perfect as they seemed. The move to Atlanta had taken a toll on her, leaving her feeling alone in a new, unfamiliar city where she had to rebuild from scratch. In a heartfelt video message, Keianna admitted it had been difficult to adjust. "You have to be ready for life's changes," she shared during a Facebook live stream. "Things can shift overnight, for better or worse. And if you don't think you're strong enough, some things can completely knock you off balance." Keianna's followers, many of whom had followed her journey for years, were now hearing the painful truth. The Burns family was on the verge of divorce. She admitted she was going through a dark time, and it was her audience that helped her push through. "Your support means everything to me," she told them. From the outside, no one could have guessed how close the couple had come to falling apart. But now, the cracks in the picture-perfect life they had displayed were finally visible. The cracks in their perfect image were growing too large to ignore. Keianna had already opened up about the struggles in their marriage, and now Ronell had no choice but to break his silence. In a live broadcast, Ronell revealed a truth that shocked their followers. The couple had made the decision to divorce 7 months earlier, but rather than offering an emotional confession, his words felt clinical, like he was delivering a business plan. "I'm tired of her," he admitted bluntly. "We're going to keep running the business together, but we're getting divorced. We've dealt with each other, and this is where we've landed." He described the process as if it were a simple transaction. "We took out a piece of paper, drew a line down the middle, and that's how we divided the business." It was a stunning admission for a couple whose brand had always been built on the image of success and unity. "Let's not dwell on this," Ronell added, reassuring their followers that nothing else would change. But the truth was already unraveling. For years, Ronell and Keianna had portrayed a life of wealth and happiness, but in reality, it was a carefully maintained illusion. The financial pressure was growing unbearable. Ronell, in his relentless pursuit of fame, had burned through much of the money Keianna had earned from her beauty salons, and now their debts were spiraling out of control, reaching over $500,000. As they continued to project a perfect life to the public, their reality was crumbling. The move to Atlanta had pushed them to their breaking point, and their financial situation was dire. The facade they had built was starting to crack, and the weight of their choices was closing in. What followed next would forever change the course of their lives. Sometimes the most heart-wrenching cries for help are hidden in plain sight. For Keiana Burns, a simple live stream would become a haunting glimpse into a life unraveling before an audience that had no idea what was about to happen. Days before the tragedy, Keianna went live on social media, her voice filled with strain as she asked her followers to pray for her. She spoke openly about how hard life had been since moving to Atlanta, the weight of caring for her children without the support of family or close friends pressing down on her. She seemed lost in a city that still didn't feel like home, sharing that without faith, life's challenges could easily consume you. "If you don't pray and keep the faith, things can change and take you away," she said with a sense of foreboding. Keianna emphasized how important it was to have a circle of support, people who could lift you up when life's burdens became too heavy. "If we leave things to chance," she warned, "we start making bad decisions." Yet, despite her honesty, she kept one painful truth hidden: Ronell's infidelity, which had been quietly tearing their marriage apart. Instead, she focused on the move, saying that adjusting to a new place without the support she once had was taking a toll on her mental health. She feared she wasn't strong enough to handle the challenges ahead. But later that same night, Keianna posted a second video, this time dancing happily with one of her daughters. It was a stark contrast to the earlier post, a fleeting moment of joy. Hours later, everything would change. After a bitter argument with Ronell, Keianna made a decision that no one could have anticipated. In a tragic turn of events, she grabbed a gun, shooting Ronell before turning it on herself. By the time the police arrived, it was too late. Neighbors, drawn by the sound of gunshots, gathered outside, unaware of the devastating scene inside the house. What had started as a plea for support ended in an unimaginable tragedy that left everyone questioning how it had come to this. The perfect life Ronell and Keiana Burns showed to the world was hiding a much darker reality, one that was finally starting to come to light. At first, investigators thought Ronell had taken his own life. But when they found Keianna's body in the next room, gun in hand, it became clear that she had made the tragic decision to end both their lives. The reasons seemed clear, but rumors began to spread. Some said Keianna had found out about Ronell's cheating, while others believed their heavy debt had driven her to this desperate act. Some even suggested Ronell had been lying to her from the start, pretending to be someone he wasn't. As people began to search for answers, they found shocking details. Ronell's ex-wife revealed that he had a history of cheating and being irresponsible with money. She claimed he had left her in debt and with a ruined credit score, and now it seemed the same thing had happened with Keianna. At first, Ronell had seemed like the perfect match for Keianna, confident and ambitious. To Ronell, Keianna was a successful businesswoman with financial stability, and together they appeared to be the ultimate power couple. But over time, their business dreams started to fall apart. Keianna's beauty salon was the only thing making money, while Ronell's ventures struggled, despite his efforts to look successful. Even as their financial situation worsened and their relationship broke down, the Burns family continued to show off a life of wealth and happiness on social media. They posted photos of expensive purchases, vacations, and happy family moments, but the reality was much different. Ronell kept posting about his business successes, but behind the scenes, they were drowning in debt. What happens when the perfect image of faith and success is nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion? For the Burns family, the truth was far from the glamorous life they portrayed online. Ronell and Keiana Burns presented themselves as devout Christians, often sprinkling their social media posts with Bible quotes alongside pictures of their luxurious lifestyle. From their grand home to flashy cars and exotic vacations, every post was designed to showcase their wealth and happiness. But beneath the surface, their reality was much darker and more complicated. Behind the scenes, Ronell was working for an American marketing insurance company that preyed on vulnerable, middle and lower-income families, pushing schemes that promised quick riches but delivered little. Desperate to maintain their image, Ronell even tried to involve his own family and friends in these fraudulent ventures. Despite their best efforts, the money wasn't enough to sustain the lavish lifestyle they flaunted. The Burns continued to insist that their business was thriving, convincing those around them that they were successful entrepreneurs. The facade grew even larger when they launched their own TV show, Meet the Burns, portraying themselves as a wealthy, successful family. But the truth was that every dollar they earned was being spent as fast as they could make it. By December 19, 2019, the financial strain became too much, and the couple filed for bankruptcy, forced to sell off assets to pay their debts. Even in the midst of financial collapse, Ronell and Keiana continued to act like everything was fine, holding on to the illusion of their perfect life. But back in St. Louis, cracks were starting to show, and their struggles were becoming harder to hide. Faced with the growing pressure, Ronell came up with one final move: relocate to a bigger city where they could reinvent themselves and continue their schemes out of the public eye. It was a desperate gamble, but one they hoped would save them from the truth that was closing in. Another bad decision only made things worse. Ronell's idea to move to Atlanta was supposed to give them a fresh start, but it just made their problems bigger. The only part of their life that was working was Keianna's beauty salon, their only real source of income. Yet, Keianna followed Ronell's lead once again and agreed to the move. But Atlanta never felt right to her. She was exhausted from Ronell's repeated cheating and tired of staying silent, pretending everything was okay. The couple decided to divorce, but the real shock came when Ronell filed the papers on October 10th, 2021, blaming her for infidelity. Keianna was devastated. She had been the one holding everything together, but now she was being painted as the guilty one. Their friends and family, unaware of the truth, believed Ronell's version of events. He hid the real story to protect his image as the successful, faithful businessman. Just 10 days later, on October 20th, Keianna went live on TV. This time, her usual bright smile was gone, replaced by sadness and fatigue. She was ready to talk about something much more serious than her usual posts. Ronell had rebuilt his life after his first marriage by marrying the successful Keianna. To the world, he seemed like a changed man, devout, responsible, and trustworthy. But in reality, he was the same person, taking advantage of Keianna's trust and money to keep up his image as a successful businessman. The person he showed to the public was never who he really was, and Keianna couldn't keep pretending anymore. The tragic end of Ronell and Keiana Burns left the world stunned. A story that once seemed full of success and ambition turned into one of unimaginable heartbreak. On November 9th, 2021, the illusion of their perfect life came crashing down. Keianna, just 44 years old, fatally shot her husband, 46-year-old Ronell Burns, before turning the gun on herself. In a moment that defied all understanding, the couple's 8 children were left to grow up without their parents. Their lives changed forever. The Sandy Springs Police Department confirmed that no one else was home during the incident, and although there were no prior reports of domestic violence at their Atlanta residence, the signs of turmoil had been there, hidden in plain sight. Just weeks earlier, Keianna had gone live on Facebook, pleading with her followers to pray for her.
Because I really need it right now. I need prayer.
Her words now carry a haunting weight as we look back and try to piece together the struggles she had been silently battling. The reasons behind Keianna's devastating actions remain a mystery, but her cry for help hinted at something deeper, something that no one had fully grasped. How does a person reach such a breaking point? Depression and other mental struggles often remain unseen, their impact misunderstood, leaving those left behind grappling for answers. As the news of their deaths spread, shockwaves rippled through their wide circle of friends, followers, and colleagues. For years, Ronell and Keiana had been the face of success, admired by many for their ambition and faith. But now, the illusion had shattered. Social media quickly filled with tributes and expressions of disbelief. Friends, family, and followers mourned, sharing memories and trying to make sense of the tragic loss. One close family friend captured the collective shock best. Even those closest to the Burns family never knew the full extent of their pain until it was far too late. What had once seemed like a powerful story of faith and success had ended in tragedy, leaving behind far more questions than answers. Ronell Burns lived for appearances, constantly showing off his supposed wealth and success. But beneath the social media posts and flashy lifestyle, his life was built on lies and insecurity. His need to flaunt his success didn't come from confidence, but from a deep lack of it. He confused self-worth with self-importance, and in doing so, he ruined the lives of the people who trusted him, especially the women who believed in him. Ronell's story shows us that those who shout the loudest about their success often have the most to hide. His charm and promises of a perfect life were nothing but illusions. Behind the fake image, Ronell wasn't the successful man he claimed to be. He was a con artist who brought down the people around him. Keianna, like others before her, fell for the dream he sold. She fought to hold their family and image together, but the truth eventually became too much to bear. Their public life, filled with luxury and success, was nothing more than a beautiful picture that hid a much darker reality. In the end, their story is a tragic reminder that what we see online isn't always the truth. The perfect images of wealth and happiness are often just that, images. Behind every carefully crafted picture is a reality that only those living it truly know. The real question is, can we look past the surface and see the truth, even when it's not what we want to believe? Thank you, armchair detectives, for following me through this case. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to lock in that subscribe button and notification bell so that you can start sleuthing when the next video has arrived. Stay safe, and until next time.